Hello, everyone. My name is Keith Nolan. I recently visited the United States Military Academy at West Point. In their audiology office, they had a poster that said, "You can't fight if you can't hear." I wonder what our former Secretary of the Army would have had to say about the poster when he congratulated a soldier who was legally deaf and blind for having successfully enlisted in the U.S. Army back in 2014. And then we have the poster from the Department of Defense, the DoD, that says, "You're not fit for duty unless your ears are." Perhaps it's not widely known, but the #1 disability in the military today is hearing damage and hearing loss, as is shown on another DoD poster. Many of those service members are still in service, and some with hearing aids. Why is that? The best response I could get is because we owe it to them. Never mind the fact that the DoD has a policy where if you have a certain amount of hearing loss, you are automatically disqualified from enlisting. You'd think that the DoD has such a policy because anyone with a hearing loss cannot perform any of the jobs in the military, but apparently that is not true with all the service members with hearing loss that they now have. What's more, I was at Walter Reed's 60th anniversary of their audiology department, and they were looking for grants to do cochlear implants on our active duty soldiers and do some experimental scenarios, such as the flight deck, where it is so loud. I told them we have got a deaf graduate from the Citadel Military College. He has a cochlear implant and he's been trying to enlist, but they said, no, we can't use him because he's a civilian. What's even more puzzling is when the DoD allowed our American soldiers to work with deaf Israeli soldiers. Yes, the Israel Defense Force enlists qualified deaf Israelis. I wish I didn't have to tell you so many disparities and illogicalities, but I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for all of the support I've received from our service members, veterans, the community, and all the more so from the cadre and cadets whom I trained with when I was in the Army ROTC 5 years ago. Yes, I had to turn in my uniform because I couldn't get a waiver due to my deafness. To be fair, sometimes it seems like a no-brainer that one needs to be hearing in order to serve in the military. This rationale might fit in with some of the military occupational specialties, but today our military has so many varieties of specialties. These occupations are so specialized that each soldier is specifically trained in the job, and many of them are positions that deaf and hard of hearing Americans can perform and even contribute uniquely in some ways. In order to move this forward, we had congressional bills introduced in both the House and Senate proposing a demonstration program where the military can see and analyze what capabilities 15 to 20 candidates with a range of hearing loss can do in the Air Force. But the DoD has not been supportive, primarily due to 2 reasons. They felt that deaf and hard of hearing service members cannot be deployed, and that the technological accommodations we use would not be secure enough. They made no note of the fact that the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency came to Capitol Hill and briefed about having deployed deaf intelligence analysts overseas, where they worked with deployed combat forces. Mind you, the NGA is an agency under the DoD, so we have a precedent. Apart from trying to work with Congress and the DoD, we've not heard anything from our Commander-in-Chief, President Obama. We've met with 9 different staffers from the Office of Public Engagement, but we never hear from them again. We even had a rally of some 300 people at the North Lawn back in 2014. I'm starting to wonder what President Obama really meant when he said that no Americans will be forbidden from serving the country they love. President Obama, do not ignore this issue. Please do not say that your administration does not deal with individual cases, because this is not about me. This is about our country, our military, and the millions of Americans with disabilities. I have always adhered to what I was taught in the Army ROTC, in that the mission always comes first. I want to see the demonstration program started, not only for deaf and hard of hearing Americans, but for our service members with hearing loss. I do not anticipate that by starting the demonstration program, the military will automatically change overnight. Not at all. For example, it took some 70 years for women to go from their own segregated unit during World War II to having all military occupations open to them only a few months ago. I can imagine the same thing happening, where eventually our military will use every skill and capability they need in order to accomplish national missions, no matter the disabilities our people might have. I can imagine this because we are Americans. We are a nation of people who face our problems. The energies and talents of all of us are needed to meet the challenges in the fight for human rights and the freedom of our country. That is what this nation has always been committed to. So now, as I stand before you, my fellow Americans, I ask for your help to push for the demonstration program. Thank you.